immigration overtakes inflation as top voter concern. This is a poll that just came up that now, this is as of January 22nd, The Hill. And the story is immigration has surged as the top policy concern among voters, with 35% of respondents listing it as their paramount concern, marking a 7 percentage point increase compared to the previous month's poll. Inflation followed closely behind, with 32% of respondents. When asked about personal impact, 38% of respondents indicated that inflation affects them directly, while 17% mentioned immigration. The number of respondents citing immigration's personal impact increased by 3% points over the previous survey. Despite a reduction in inflation, immigration remains a significant political issue, with both Republicans and some Democrats emphasizing a majority of voters, 64% believe that conditions at the border are worsening, and 68% believe that the administration should make it tougher to enter the U.S. legally, reflecting a bipartisan desire for stricter border enforcement. Adam.
Makes total sense to me because, don't look now, but the economy has been doing better. There's a story here about basically how people are feeling a little bit more optimistic on the economy. Inflation has cooled down to somewhere around 3% these days. If you ask the average American, what is the inflation rate right now? They would tell you it's probably 7, 8, 9, 10%. The Fed has actually done a decent job of what they would call a soft landing in the economy. Not so much Boeing, but that's a whole nother story. But
that's a hot landing.
Exactly. Unemployment right now is at 3.5%. We just saw the stock market reach record highs, 38,000. I remember being in Dallas shooting a video when we reached 30,000 in 2020. But there is a difference between Wall Street and Main Street. We understand that. But the economy seems to be doing on the right track. We'll see what happens with the interest rates and, whether they're going to give a pause and all that. But speaking of storytelling, nothing makes you feel more angered as an American just to see the open border caravans
unbelievable
pouring into the country. You even have Democrats right now like John Fetterman who's just using common sense, guys. This isn't a left or right thing. It's an American thing. What is happening at the border, guys? When you see images like this, how left do you have to be to say, yeah, I'm totally fine with that? The questions need to be answered. So to give a bottom line on this, totally understand why the immigration and the border is now at the top of the list versus the economy.
Because it's coming to their doorstep, literally. And when you have loser leftist shills like Jim Acosta when Trump was in, and he's like, it's an invasion. He goes, I consider it an invasion. And Jim Acosta's like, what are you talking about? They're just people looking for refuge. It's people like that. And that's why when they call them the enemy of the people, you are, because that is an invasion. And I'll say it again. One American dies because of that. I think we go to the, and people are suing them. People are going to the government to sue them because not one life should be lost and not one school should be shut down for, I don't give a shit for how long, because we have to put migrants, illegal people inside of a school because it's cold outside.
And
That's bullshit.
Just to juxtapose Texas versus New York, and I understand where Texans are coming from, because if you look at New York, they're like, people are pissing, they're shitting, it's a mess here. There's only tens of thousands of people there. How many millions come through Texas?
Forget it.
So New York is getting just a little taste of what Texas is basically saying and why there's such objections to the open border policy.
Rob, play this clip by Fetterman on Twitter, the clip you just pulled up a minute ago. If you can just go right there. Watch this here. This is Fetterman, by the way, where, he's the guy that beat Dr. Oz, right? So here's what he has to say about the border. Listen to him.
Because obviously a lot of progressives on Twitter have been attacking you for your position on Israel, for noting that, in your opinion, saying that there is a crisis at the border does not make one xenophobic. Why do you think you've been so criticized by so many progressives?
I honestly don't understand. I don't understand why it's controversial to anybody to decide that you're going to stand with Israel in this situation. I honestly don't understand why it's controversial to say we need a secure border. I've been very clear. In fact, that was weaponized against me as Republicans in my race, that I'm very much a strong supporter of immigration. And, my wife's family, that's the Oregon story about that. And I think two things can be true at the same time. You can be very supportive of immigration, but we also need to have a secure border. And I think about immigration as we want to provide the American dream for any migrant. But it seems very difficult when you have 300,000 people showing up encountered at our border to do that. And I think we need to do a reset, and we have to work together and develop a new comprehensive solution to that. And that would also unlock a lot of the critical aid for Ukraine. Again, we cannot forget about Ukraine. That's critical for Israel and Taiwan. That's a very important kind of standard that we have to maintain, that we're going to support and stand with our allies that are very critical.
Interesting.
Well, first of all, I think since his stroke, and I'm so happy that he's better. Either the stroke made him think straight, or that's his body double, and his body double's a Republican, and they're like, "What the hell? Which one did we pick? Which one did we put in front of the camera?" Look, dude,
Fred, you were supposed to interview these guys.
That doesn't look like the same guy. That does not look like the same guy to me. You never know. It's not the same, but it is the same guy. But by the way, did you ever hear him speak like that? That's insane that he's turned completely. He sounds like a Republican.
No, I don't think there's a body double. I'm gonna go with the facts here, not some fantasy. I think what this guy is doing is any guy in PA, because he beat Dr. Oz, and Dr. Oz was, I think, moved from Dallas or wherever the hell he came from. It's easy to dismiss this guy as a weird-looking, sweater-wearing, shorts-rocking dude. But when you actually put together some of the words that he's talking about, he's actually just using a very common-sense approach to politics. And he's not pandering to the left, and he's not basically, going down the path of the right and saying, hey, I don't believe in that. He actually has stances, and he actually has a backbone. This guy's got a lot of issues, bro. He had a stroke. He has health issues. It's been noted that he's dealing with anxiety and depression, and he's dealing with all sorts of stuff. But it's not hard to say, I stand with our democratic allies in Israel. It's not hard to say a country without a border is not a country. It's not hard to say, hey, whether you agree with it or not, I'm not on Team Vladimir Putin. These aren't controversial statements. But where we're at today in the wokeified left and the hard right is that people are going to say, what are you talking about? But actually, what he's saying is just very common sense.
But can I ask you guys a question, though? Do you think, honestly, Tom, do you think that in this 4 years of Biden with this open, still right now wide open, is it the damage has already been done, meaning there's no coming back from what they've done, and that was their plan all along? Because Trump will come in, okay? Trump, it's going to take them years to build the wall, okay? They're going to start deporting. Who's had the most deportation? Was it Obama?
Obama.
How many? 3 million? 2 million?
He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. The greatest. They called him the what is it called? What they call him?
Deporter-in-chief.
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 Okay. Think about this. But when Biden's done, how many illegals would have be here? What's the projection?
They're saying 12.99 million.
Arkansas. Another Arkansas.
Almost 13 million here.
Yes.
Okay.
In one term.
In one term. Bananas. Do you think that the damage has already been done? There's no coming back from that because they're here. Even if he deports 3 million, those 10 million or whatever are going to have kids, and their kids and their kids and their kids are all going to vote Democrat. Do you think it's the damage is done?
It's a 60-40 split. It's a 65-35 split. The people that come here from the border, they're going to vote Democrat 65% of the time. 65% of the time, give or take. Yeah, the split is how you're just increasing, but strategically, you're targeting a state. It's the state that'll give them victory for decades to come. That's Texas. What you're targeting. You're targeting Texas.
Texas.
It's a brilliant, dark, deceptive, but effective strategy. That's what you got to take. Your enemy is using a great strategy. In your face, they're doing it. Mm-hmm. And you're not doing nothing about it.
Yep.
Well, guess what? More power to your enemy if you're going to sit around and be okay with it. And like, yeah, look at what's going on with the border. Let's go on with the border. Yeah, it's open. Okay. Wide open. And, now here's the question becomes, I can't wait if, let's just say, Trump wins. Mm-hmm. He comes and he deports a record-breaking amount of people out of the state, and the left goes after him. And then he says, what happened to your hero?
Yeah.
What happened to your hero, Barack Obama? Is he not your savior? Mm-hmm. Do you know he held the record for the most people deported as a president?
Go.
All I'm doing is the catastrophic thing your president, Joe Biden, did with 12.1 million. Right now, we're at 8.5 million.
8.5.
And you got how much longer left in his term? Whatever, another year, the way it's going right now. Right now, we got 8.5 million. Say we end up at 10 million. So we end up at 11, 12 million, right? They're projecting 12,099,000. Okay. You know what Trump's going to do with that? So, but at the same time, the point you're making is, yes, the damage has been done. Percentage-wise, it's not a pretty sight.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.